Thanks for stopping by. I did not know that classic TV edition. Please like and subscribe.
I'll think about it.
That's all I ask.
Coming up in this episode.
No.
Andy Griffith had one of the most enduring careers in show business. From the Andy Griffith Show at the start of the 1960s to Matlock, which ended in the mid-90s, he was one of the most familiar faces on TV. But right before he became everyone's favorite sheriff in Mayberry, he had come to the point where he wondered if his career was over. The 1950s were good years to be Andy Griffith. He'd become famous for his comedy routines and storytelling. His recording of What It Was Football became a hit record. Then he got the dramatic role of Lonesome Rhodes in the 1957 film A Face in the Crowd. Many felt he should have been nominated for an Oscar.
They don't know it yet, but they're all gonna be fighters for Fuller. They're mine. I own them. They think like I do. Only they're even more stupid than I am, so I gotta think for them.
Next came a wacky comedy called No Time for Sergeants in 1958, in which he played a country hick who joins the Air Force.
Hey, listen, Ben. At home, we got a little old radio on the porch. Whenever it won't work, Pa just spits in the back of it and whomps it good, and it works every time. That's it.
It was a huge hit, and it appeared he had the world by the tail. Yet, only a year later, he wondered if his career was over. What happened? There's a saying that goes, "You're only as good as your last performance." That's especially true for television and films, and as Frank Sinatra sang, "You're riding high in April and shot down in May." While Griffith had some big successes, he then was in a few things that were a flop or judged as bad. After his success in No Time for Sergeants, the studio thought they'd put him in another film called Onion Head, where he again was in the military. You may have noticed that in Hollywood, if something works, they just keep repeating it over and over again. This time, Griffith's character was in the Coast Guard.
No.
That was awful.
That's the combination of onion juice and alcohol.
Well, what's onions got to do with growing hair?
What do you call this?
It had a great cast, which included Walter Matthau, who had just appeared with Griffith in the drama A Face in the Crowd. This was only Matthau's fourth film and first comedic role. It appeared that this most likely was going to be a hit too, just like No Time for Sergeants. But it wasn't. It was a huge flop. When I've seen Griffith mention Onion Head, you can almost see him cringe. What went wrong? Let's take a look at what happened. First, the film was rushed to capitalize on No Time for Sergeants. It came out only 5 months after that film. And secondly, which was the biggest mistake, the studio advertised that the film was going to be another wacky comedy, like the first one. People were expecting to see his character of the likable idiot, the goofy hillbilly again. Audience thought they were going to see a zany comedy again. But it wasn't. Onion Head was a comedy drama. That's much different than a wacky comedy like No Time for Sergeants. While Griffith may still have played Al Woods as a southerner with a thick accent in Onion Head, he wasn't a silly and lovable hillbilly. He at times was even unlikable.
Now look, you're not pulling that stuff. You're not gonna bail out on me at the last minute, baby.
Just what do you think I am?
I know what you are. You're a cheap little dirty hillbilly.
While it does have some funny moments, it was more of a drama and nothing like No Time for Sergeants. I assume that's what people thought they were going to see. Imagine back in the day going to see a Martin and Lewis film and finding they dropped most of the silly stuff and went for drama. I'm sure word of mouth killed this film. Let's hear what Andy had to say.
I did a bad movie called Onion Head for Warner's. It laid there. And that was about the end of my movie career.
That was with Walter Matthau?
Yeah.
With that said, it's actually not a bad film, and there were some very good moments, especially with Griffith and Mathau. Like this scene where they had a few drinks and talk about cinnamon rolls.
I tell a guy make cinnamon rolls.
Nobody can make some rolls like you can, Red.
Well, skip that Red Bull. I'm talking about when I say make cinnamon rolls, Mac.
Have enough. Got a confession to make. Sick and tired of some wrong.
Griffith took the failure hard and figured that was the end of his film career. In 1958, he also appeared in an episode of a TV series called Playhouse 90. Playhouse 90 was a well-regarded anthology series which featured accomplished actors and rising actors like Paul Newman, William Shatner, and many others. It attracted top directors and scripts. Griffith appeared in an episode called The Male Animal, which had been done as a film years before starring Henry Fonda. While I couldn't find any clips from this episode, the reviews were not kind to Griffith, as you can see here. It sounds like he may have been miscast. Just a year earlier, he'd been a red-hot actor, but after Onion Head and then The Male Animal, Griffith said his phone stopped ringing for a year. The author of the book Andy and Dawn said that in just a few years, Andy had gone from an unknown to a Broadway star to a box office king to a has-been. He then began making guest appearances on programs like The Milton Berle Show and The Steve Allen Show. Griffith was reluctant to star in a TV series. The reason being is that he felt if you strike out there, that's it, you're done, and you have nowhere else to go. So Griffith decided to take the part of Destry in the Broadway play Destry Rides Again. Griffith claimed that the dancing in the musical was the only thing that kept it open. It wasn't a great experience. The songs were mundane at most, he said. His friend Don Knotts went to see it and told Andy he did enjoy watching him dance up there. I looked at some of the reviews from that time and I was surprised because Griffith made it sound like it was kind of a bomb. I found a lot of positive reviews of the show and of his performance. I think Griffith was being a bit hard on himself, and I've found he's often his worst critic. So Griffith and his agent agreed that it might not be a bad idea to get the word out that he might be interested in doing more television. One day after his performance in Destry Rides Again, Griffith said he noticed a man standing near his dressing room with a smile on his face. He said he thought he'd seen him somewhere before, maybe playing heavies in the movies. It was Sheldon Leonard, producer of The Danny Thomas Show. After going out for a sandwich and getting to know each other, Leonard said he had an idea for a series where Griffith would be the sheriff in a small town. I don't have to tell you anymore because the rest is history, because you all know how it turned out. Thanks again for stopping by and visiting my channel. Do you enjoy classic TV shows, nostalgia, and strange but true stories? Check out the other videos on my channel where we cover everything from The Andy Griffith Show to Batman to Quisp and Quake and many more.